Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Chris Meidel, Senior Product Manager here at Planview for Viz. And in this short video, I'd like to give you a quick overview of Planview Copilot for Viz. Now, what is Copilot? One way of thinking of it is basically a personalized flow advisor that's available right inside of Viz. And in this video, what we're going to do is take a look at a couple of the key use cases. We're going to focus on new user experiences for team leaders and product owners, as well as experiences for portfolio managers. And we'll take a look at some examples of prompts that we can use inside of Copilot in each of these scenarios. Okay, so once we're in Viz, we just click this button here to open up the chat window over here. And we're going to start off talking about the new user experience inside of Viz. New users who are new to value stream management or to Viz will no doubt have new terms that they may not have heard before that they want to get used to and familiar with. So let's take an example here. I can type in, what is flow velocity, for example. Now, the great thing is that we have our Customer Success Center, which has quite a lot of information on it for all of our products, including Viz, as well as our flow methodology that has all of our best practices. Now, we now index that information inside of Copilot so that it saves the user a trip having to go over there and search and locate those types of information on the fly. And so that's what it's doing right now. You can see that there's a little bit of wait time. This is fairly typical for chat-related interfaces, that there is some compute time. But you can see here that it's given an example. And we can even continue the thread to ask questions like, how is that different from flow time? Maybe we want to understand that. And so there we go. They can start to get a contrast, between those, as well as helpful links directly to the system. We can ask questions like, what is new in Viz? Because all of the things like our release notes, for example, are stored over in the Customer Success Center, and we can get access to those as well. Okay, so now let's shift gears for a minute to the lens of a team leader or a product owner in an agile environment. When you're coming to Viz, how do you use Viz to augment those existing processes that you already have in place, like your sprint planning or your daily stand-ups or your sprint retros? To help with that, we've introduced the concept called prompt queues, and these are just little helper hints to help you get started. So let's take a look. How should I prepare for sprint planning inside of Viz? Now, this content is actually coming from our Customer Success Center, where we have our best practices for how to prepare, and just bringing that in here. So this is a great starting point to help your team anytime that you're going to be going into a sprint planning session. And similarly, let's look at daily scrums as well. And there's another example of things that you can do before the daily scrum and during and even after the daily scrum. All sorts of different helpful tips and hints to really help you get the most out of it. And finally, another one that I think is also really great and essential is your retros. How can Viz make my sprint retros more effective? Now, these prompts you probably wouldn't need to run every single day, but once you get the gist of it, but it's getting over that hurdle of knowing how to really leverage Viz for that right out of the gate. And there we go. So that's some really helpful tips, but that kind of content doesn't really leverage the power of the numbers inside of Viz. And that's where we'll take a look at a couple of other prompts here as an example. Let's just look at it from a simple area. Where are my bottlenecks? So you can see what it's doing there is actually going off and scanning your data and coming up with report. We don't have to stop there, though. We can ask for more generalized things like this. Give me an overall health report and summarize key findings and anomalies in this value stream. And there we go. It's giving kind of an overall assessment, areas of concern, positive aspects, notable trends, and anomalies. So it's pretty amazing to give you a starting place to know where to begin. You can also use it for other types of areas within the GUI. So let's say you don't know what Flow Optimizer is, for instance. We can ask that. What is Flow Optimizer? And there we go, giving us a description of what Flow Optimizer is all about. Okay, so now let's shift gears and go over and we'll look at the digital product value streams from the lens of a portfolio. So now you're a portfolio manager and you want to ask some questions. So let's start with something simple like, can you give a summary of this portfolio? And there you go. It actually does a pretty comprehensive analysis showing the overall performance, key metrics, significant issues. So let's take it a little bit further. What can I do now as a portfolio manager? Well, let's ask that. What can I do or focus on that will have the greatest positive impact on this portfolio? I need to know, what can I do? And so there we go. It's computing and coming up with, a set of recommendations and things that I can focus on, action steps that I can do as a portfolio manager to direct my attention to help all of my products. And so this is a great time saver. Instead of having to go into each value stream one at a time and try to assess this, you can start with something like this to get you pointed in the right direction. And so this is just the beginning of where we're at, and it's such an exciting trend, as you can see the power of this kind of system and applying it to value stream metrics. So where do we go from here? Well, for next steps, one thing to be aware of is we do have a 90-day free trial that you can enable Copilot for your organization to try that out. The other thing you can do, feel free, we do have ongoing focus sessions to talk about improvements to our prompting strategies and where we're going to go next, there's some pretty exciting stuff. And if you have a real deep interest in that kind of thing, certainly reach out to me and we can see if we can join you in with some of our groups that are already happening. And we also have a community over on our community, planview.com/biz as well. And that's a great place to engage with other users as well. And thank you very much. I hope this has been an exciting and interesting area for you to get familiar with what you can do with Copilot. And again, we're just getting started. There is a lot more to come, and we're really excited here at Planview to be rolling that out. But thanks for watching.